Well, thank you, everybody. Happy Sunday. Thank you for participating. And I want to thank Karen Simmons for doing such an extraordinary job putting this really lovely conference together. This is not easy. And so thank you, Karen. I'm going to share my screen. Oops, that's taking my camera off. Let me share my screen. Okay, can everybody see my presentation? Hopefully you can. If you have any questions during my presentation, please feel free to raise your hand and I'll be happy to answer any questions as we go. I have quite a bit of content, so I am going to move quite fast through the presentation. And so by all means, feel free to ask questions and I'll try to have enough time at the end for questions as well. Okay, so today I'm talking about the importance of employment for independent living. I know there was some confusion about the title of my presentation, but this is actually my presentation because I focus on employment and that is what I'm passionate about. Okay, I don't know how to advance my slides. Anybody? Hello. Is there a volunteer that can help me understand how to advance my slides? Okay, so Gatherly is a complicated platform that has not been, real easy to use. So I'm going to apologize. I'm actually going to go into a different form of sharing my slides with you guys so that I can advance them. And I'm not going to be able to see the screen myself or anybody else. So bear with me because I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen, and if somebody could speak up and let me know if they can see it, that would be great.
Yes, we can.
Yes, great. All right, so importance of employment for an independent living. So my name is Rebecca Beam, and I'm the founder and CEO of Zavikon. I'm also a founding member of MindSpark, Inc. MindSpark was an organization where we trained adults on the autism spectrum to do software testing, and we started that company in 2013. So we were one of the pioneers in this space of employment for individuals on the autism spectrum. I will talk a little bit more about Zavikon in a minute. In 2018, we sold MindSpark to a company out of Germany called Autism, and I was their CEO for almost 3 years. It was during that journey that I really realized that I needed to start Zavikon. I became very passionate about this employment because the outcomes are very dismal in terms of employment for individuals on the autism spectrum. I consider myself a neurodiversity at work thought leader, and I will discuss what neurodiversity is in a minute if people are not familiar with the term. I'm a disability advocate. I'm a social good entrepreneur. I'm compassionate leader. I have won awards in this space. I speak internationally about this subject. I'm NeuroWorks board co-chair. We're a global alliance of like-minded companies dedicated to the employment of individuals on the autism spectrum in STEAM careers, and I am neurodivergent. So before we get going, I don't always assume that everybody understands the term neurodiversity. It is an umbrella, and it includes all brains. But under those who are neurodivergent, the different diagnoses are anxiety disorders, autism, ADHD, bipolar, and so on. So I like to explain what neurodiversity is considered before I get going. So today we're going to talk about, I'm going to tell you about Zavikon. I'm going to give you some employment statistics, the importance of employment, are Social Security benefits deterring people from work, learning about the state's employment programs, how do we improve outcomes, tools and services, success stories, and questions. So about Zavikon. Zavikon is an employment agency and a consulting firm focused on placing individuals with disabilities and those who are neurodivergent in career-oriented employment. And we do this in a supported manner. We believe that there is a job for everyone to apply their talents and skills in a meaningful way. And our mission is to match qualified candidates with disabilities and those who are neurodivergent with employers who believe inclusion is the future. We do program design. We work with companies to help them recruit candidates in place. That is really our focus, is to get individuals in career-oriented employment. We help companies understand how to interview best to set people up for success. We do hiring manager education and preparation. We help them understand accommodations. And again, we call them success factors because we believe an accommodation is just something that's going to set an individual up for success. We help with onboarding and retention and just guidance through the entire process. And for our candidates, we work with all disabilities, both visible and invisible. I will say that the majority of our candidates are those who are neurodivergent, and of those, I would say 85 to 90% are on the autism spectrum. I believe that this is because there is such a great need in that community for employment services. We look at everybody's talents and skills, and we want to place them in opportunities where they can thrive. So we place all types of people in all types of jobs. Most of our candidates are seeking their first opportunity or are entry level, but not all. And we service all of the US. Our candidates work on-site, hybrid, and remote opportunities. A lot of people ask, Zavikon, what does that mean? So I just thought I'd throw it out there in the very beginning. You know, our tagline is a bridge to inclusion. So when I decided to name the company, I looked up the world's shortest international bridge. And that's a little island right there in Canada with a house on it called Zavikon Island. And that little 32-foot bridge connects them to their backyard in New York. So we like to think we're the shortest bridge to inclusion. We're 100% woman-owned, and we are a disability-owned business enterprise. So employment statistics, many of you might be familiar with these statistics, but 16% of humanity has a disability and 96% are non-visible. Just over 1 in 4 of today's 20-year-olds will become disabled before they retire. Now, I do think we are moving the needle on employment for individuals with disabilities, as you can see in these numbers. But as our population grows, so does the amount of people with disabilities, being 33.9 million. And persons of working age, 17 million. But if you can see here, we've gone from 4.4 million in work, being employed, to 6.3. So I think that's definitely achievement through all of the hard work that we are all doing. 15 to 20% of people have brains that develop differently, considered neurodivergent. And we do know that there are super real benefits to companies hiring individuals who are neurodivergent. Employer surveys said that 80% show that they're more hyper-focused, and 75% are more innovative in their thinking, and creative, 78%. So we know that embracing this type of hiring is not just the right thing to do, it's a strategic advantage. But the unemployment rate for neurodiverse adults runs as high as 30 to 40%. And when we get to autism, 1 out of 36 born today are receiving a diagnosis. And the unemployment rate is upwards of 80%. So this is a huge problem. We know that companies that embrace hiring have a 90% increase in employee retention. And this is not just from those who are hired that are disabled or on the autism spectrum. It's the people that work for them who may have friends or family or are caregivers to individuals. When they see their company embracing this type of hiring, there's loyalty and commitment. And we do know that it does show higher revenues, net incomes, profit margin, and productivity, and an access to a greater talent pool of people. We also know that individuals who are disabled tend to spend their discretionary income with companies that support them. The GDP could get a boost of up to 25 billion if just 1% more persons with disabilities join the US labor force. So this is not just a social issue, this is an economic one. And here's the study link, and they will make my presentation available to you if you would like it. So the importance of employment, we all know this. You know, independent living can mean different things to different people. It can mean living on your own. It can mean living with your family and the ability to manage your daily life, not being reliant on others. Living on one's own can be very important to an individual and a goal, and paying bills, having fun, having money to go do things. Employment, in many cases, is a cornerstone of achieving a certain lifestyle, like financial independence, having benefits like health benefits, 401k plans, achieving those life goals. And then as a society, it gives you a source of purpose and self-reliance, like increased self-esteem, socialization, the ability to be with others, building your skills, intellectual stimulation, contributing to society. These are just a few reasons that we need to be able to have employment, not just to live on one's own, but to have a sense of purpose. So my question that I posed to ChatGPT is, what is the percentage of autistic adults who say they want to work? And here's the answer. The majority of autistic adults express the desire to work. Estimates indicate that 77 to 85% of autistic adults report that they want to work or are interested in being employed. But the actual rates, I went over them earlier, they're pretty dismal in terms of employment opportunities for individuals on the autism spectrum. And the reason, the barriers, is a lack of support and accommodations in the workplace, challenges with the interview process, misunderstandings about autism among employers and colleagues, limited access to tailored employment programs. And this disparity highlights the importance of creating more inclusive and supportive work environments for autistic adults. And that is what Zavikon is all about. So I want to talk a minute about Social Security benefits and deterring people from work. This is a brand new study that has just been done, and it's for California. I am based in California, so a lot of the things that I'm going to provide today are California-based. If you're not based in California, I encourage you to explore these things in your state. But this is a very interesting study. I provided all of the study slides. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they will be available to you. So these are key insights of working with intellectual disabilities and Social Security benefits. In July of 2023, this group looked at a survey. They conducted a survey of the impact of SSI, Social Security, and the Title II benefits on individuals with developmental disabilities who wanted to work. There were 605 responses that were collected from across California, both in English and in Spanish. This was the extended work team. So they hit 43 out of 58 counties. There was 10.7 represented payees, 10.7 individuals, and the majority of the respondents were parents. The disabilities were 29% of intellectual disabilities, and 52% of autism was represented. 60% had never worked. 67% of the individuals' fear of losing their Social Security benefits impacts their decision to work. This is unbelievable, but not at the same time, because people depend on these benefits, and they're very scared that if they go get a job and it doesn't work out, that they're going to lose their benefits. They're not going to have those benefits when they need them again. 42% said it was a major factor in their decision not to work. 75% of the individuals with intellectual disabilities who have worked encountered a problem with Social Security. That's huge. And what are these problems? Oh my gosh, 76% had overpayment notices, meaning that they were confused about how to claim their wages, and they received a notice that they had to pay back money. And sometimes this money is large amounts. 39% of them lost their benefits. 15% lost their medical insurance, and 11% they changed their disability status. They said, oh, you're no longer disabled. So these were some of the key problems that were experienced, and we've detailed them out a little bit more. And then the group made recommendations for legislative change. And I'm not going to go through all of these recommendations, but this will be available to you. So in conclusion, the fear of losing benefits is a major factor for individuals with IDD and their families in deciding whether to work. This fear is not fabricated, but based on the experience of the community who have attempted to work only to experience problems with Social Security. So it is a major deterrent. There is a white paper that you can go to and read all about it. These links will be made available to you. So learn about your state's programs. In terms of employment, and I'm only going to be able to speak to California, but many states have opportunities for people to have internships, etc., through state-sponsored programs. And I really encourage you to do research in your state and find out what these programs are. Here in California, we have California Regional Center Systems programs, and we have the California Department of Rehabilitation. In a lot of states, that's called vocational rehabilitation. And most of these organizations and state-sponsored programs have benefits for employment for individuals with disabilities. Here in California, overseen by the California Department of Developmental Services, which has 21 community-based agencies, they will sponsor 1,040 hours of paid wages for the employer. Those 1,040 hours can go over the course of 12 months, and a third party is the employer, so employers don't have to worry about covering workers' comp or sick time. It's covered by another entity. Also, with the Department of Rehabilitation, there is adult work experience hours, as well as other programs that focus on different types of verticals to help individuals get these internships without the companies having to pay the wages. These are incredible programs. And the state of California is not the only state that offers these programs. So I do encourage you to look at what your state offers. So how do we improve outcomes? Well, for the job seekers, we really need to help them identify their talents and skills and interests. And I'm going to tell you a success story in a little while that'll speak to this and give a real life example of how I was able to work with somebody to help them find how to apply their talent, skills, and interests in a meaningful way. What are their transferable skills? What are some of the skills that you see in them that they can transfer into the workplace? If they don't have work experience, help them think about what those transferable skills are. And you can build a resume or a portfolio. Portfolio showcases, let's say, the ability of someone's art or someone's, work that you can actually put in a link that somebody can look through. And a resume, you can put their transferable skills there if they don't have any work experience, or if they volunteered or worked for the family or a family friend. All of those things matter. Identify accommodation needs. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. And also make a video of them speaking about their employment and career desires. That always, is very beneficial to let somebody know who the individual is. There are career assessments out there that you can do to also help you identify, their skills and where they can apply their talents. There's vocational education opportunities, and a lot of time those are state-sponsored as well. Look at your community organizations. Look at supported employment services, their workforce boards and employer assistance networks. Job coach, find a job coach, practice interview skills, reach out to family, friends, and help build their confidence to work. This is very important. And in terms of employers, help find employers who will open their doors. Speak to local employers, speak to your own employer, ask family and friends to do the same. Education of employers about hiring from this community is key. And you can be the foot soldier out there doing that. Introduce services like ours, Zavikon, to these employers. Encourage them to speak with us. There are other organizations like Zavikon that are out there in the local community that you can encourage employers to speak with. Get involved with your community organizations that are supporting employment and discuss the benefits of hiring from this community with your family, friends, and employer. Loyal and dedicated, focused at work, great attitude, willing to learn, offers a different perspective. These are just a few of the whys. But you have to be out there willing to do the work as well. There are many organizations like Zavikon that are out there really doing the heavy lifting and trying to open the doors. But we need help from others to help us be successful. So understanding accommodations, an accommodation is, helping someone to adjust the work environment so that they can work more effectively. Again, we call these success factors. Specialized equipment, modifications to the work environment, adjustments to schedules or responsibilities. Oftentimes, these accommodations do not cost a company any or very little money to do. Some of the accommodations for neurodivergent workers that we recommend for those with sensory issues is a quiet office seating away from distractions, maybe offer noise-canceling headphones, seating away from fluorescent lights or seating away from strong smells, or adjusting the lighting in the office. For communication, this is often an area where individuals struggle who are on the autism spectrum. So offering communication in different ways, whether it's written instruction, agendas before meetings, understanding that a person may not make eye contact with you, but that doesn't mean that they're not listening to you. Providing limited social interaction or giving the opportunity for them to interact socially if they so choose. Clear and concise communication, straightforward communication, and meeting reminders. Oftentimes, individuals have executive functioning issues so that they need to be reminded that there's a meeting coming up. Scheduling and additional considerations could be a flexible or adjusted start time and schedule, part-time hours, frequent or scheduled break times, a consistency of schedule, advance notice of any change, whether it's supervisor, task, work location, even advance notice of meetings. Training adjustments, choice of materials and uniforms that are worn, job modification to help the person identify their skills and apply them, allow for a job coach, and then transportation assistance. And we understand that not all employers can do all of these things, but these are very easy to do. And one of the big things is agendas for a meeting. Nobody likes to show up for a meeting without knowing what it's going to be about. That's a very simple thing. And a lot of these accommodations that we ask for are not just accommodations for individuals who are neurodivergent or have some form of a disability. These adjustments are good for everybody. So tools and services. So one of the things that Zavikon has created is a job seeking resource guide. This is a really cool guide that helps individuals know how to look for a job and the things that are necessary to find a job. So there is a link to this resource guide, and it is available to everybody. Additional resources, the ADA National Network. Also askjan.org. If you're not familiar with this website, it's really cool because it can help you identify accommodations that might work for you. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission ADA information line is extremely informative. And ONET Online. I love ONET Online. And if you're not familiar with it, and we have a little bit of time after I finish this presentation, I'll show it to you. But it's a way to understand the different careers that are out there and to do research and then get access to workforce boards that might have opportunities in those areas. So I want to share with you a few success stories that Zavikon has had. We've had many, but these are a few that we highlight. So I want to talk a little bit about Joseph. So Joseph came to us right when we opened our doors, and he had passed 5 actuary exams on his own, which is pretty unheard of. I mean, he's a brilliant mathematician, to say the very least. But he had interviewed close to 100 times over 2 years in his quest for becoming an actuary, and those were all failed interviews. The problem was that Joseph has auditory processing issues. So when you ask him a question, he can often take a minute and sometimes longer before he'll even start speaking. It's not that he doesn't understand the question, it's not that he doesn't know the answer, but in his head, he has to take the time to formulate his words. So when we started representing Joseph, we would work with employers interviewing him to say, hey, when you ask the question, please ask it and be silent. Because giving him that moment to think was the ability for him to put his answer together and answer it. It made all the difference in the world. And he was accepted into one of the top actuarial programs in the country with our supported interview process. He's still employed there. 2 years later, he's thriving and he's making a 6-figure wage. Kayla struggled to receive full-time hours. Not only is she on the autism spectrum, but she was worried about ageism. She was concerned about her age and being employable. We were able to find an employer who would open their doors and see the benefits of hiring her. We nearly tripled her salary. She received full benefits for the first time, assigned to a critical development role on an enterprise-wide project with the help of our supported placement services. Kayla has also been taking advantage of some of the statewide opportunities that will give her additional training, and she's now in pursuit of a data science degree. Rohan, amazing, had multiple degrees, but had never been given the opportunity to apply his skills and talents in a meaningful way. He was woefully underemployed and not being paid or given consistent hours. So we doubled his salary. He's thriving at the company. He is living independently. He moved, both Joseph and Rohan are now living independently and also relocated for their jobs and are thriving. Jason is the story I wanted to share with you about transferable skills and finding out what an individual, how they can apply their skills in a meaningful way. So Jason came to me and he had been employed, but he was digitizing documents for many, many years for an organization. He was driving over an hour every day one way to work. He was making minimum wage, had not received any increases in his wages other than the mandated increases in minimum wage. And he was being treated pretty unfairly at work. He did not have any secondary education and really didn't know what he wanted to do. But at the end of the day, he was able to talk with me about the fact that he loved swimming pool vacuums. And if you'll excuse me, I think I might be losing the power on my machine just a second. Okay, my plug came undone. Okay, so Jason, he loves trains, he loves DeLoreans, but those were all kind of like hobbies, right? But one day he told me about his love of swimming pool vacuums. And the fact that he knew every make and model, and he would fix swimming pool vacuums for his family. And this was something that he started to love as a child when his dad built his first swimming pool and put the swimming pool vacuum in the swimming pool. He just became enamored by it. They would even call him from Leslie Pools to come and help them fix swimming pool vacuums and not even pay him to do it because he knew so much about it and he was willing to do it. So when he told me about his love for swimming pool vacuums, I knew, wow, this is really something. This is a transferable skill. This is something he loves and he's dived into. And so I reached out to the CEO of the company that he loves their vacuums the most. And I said, hey, you have a super fan. And guess what? You'd be crazy not to hire him. Within 24 hours, that CEO responded to me and he said, let's see what we can do. For the past year and a half, Jason has been working as a QA specialist at that swimming pool vacuum company. He moved to another city and he's living independently. And guess what? He's thriving and they love him. He's doing such a good job. St. Jacob. Jacob was getting bookkeeping certifications. He didn't really know what he wanted to do. He had been unemployed for years and could not find employment. We were able to find him a job in production finance at a large entertainment studio, and he categorizes files with the intent to advance into a bookkeeper position. That was his first engagement through one of the state programs with this major studio. They hired him again in a bookkeeping role, so that's what he's doing now. Jordan had lost his job of 30 years due to COVID, and we were able to find him a job in a mortgage company, but due to the industry downturn, Jordan lost that job as well after being there for a year. He has been unable to find employment since then. So at Zavikon, we hired him to help us with data entry, and we were able to use one of the state programs. Since then, we've been also able to get him hired back at that mortgage company, and they're thrilled to have him. So these are just a few success stories that Zavikon has had. But what this displays is that there are jobs out there for individuals. You just have to stick with looking and look at the transferable skills and their talents and find opportunities for them. That's why, as a collective, it's very important that we get out there and talk to employers and prophesy the benefits of hiring individuals on the autism spectrum. So with that, I'm going to open it up to questions real quick. If you want to reach out to Zavikon, you can reach out to info@zavikon.net. Our website is www.zavikon.net, and I encourage you to reach out because together I know that we will be able to change lives and employment outcomes. Any questions?
If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll bring you up on the main stage. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can also, if anybody's interested, I can show ONET and what that's all about. I can show you how to use that tool. No questions? Anybody want to see ONET? Raise your hand.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
I'll raise my hand.
Okay, let me go there. It's really cool. A lot of people don't understand, don't know what it is. So let me pull it up. Okay. Now this time I'm going to do a Chrome tab. All right. Can everybody see it, or does it look really small?
It's a little small, but we can see it.
Okay. I can actually, let Let me stop sharing, and then I'll share the full screen and kind of walk people through it. Because it is very small. All right. Okay, so this is ONET. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Okay, so ONET is a way to find occupations, and you can go and, you know, really do a deep dive into the different job duties and how to look for a job. So does anybody have a particular occupation that they would like to look up? Give me one. Anything.
Maybe occupational therapy?
Okay. Occupational therapy assistants are aides.
Assistants?
There we go. Okay, we'll go there. Okay, so if you look at occupational therapy assistants, it tells you what they do. And it also sample of reported job titles that you can search for online. These are all sample job titles, okay? And it gives you the tasks, the technology that you might need to know to be able to do this job, the work activities you would do in this job, detailed work activities, and work context. For example, you know, exposed to disease or infections, and 97% responded that every day they could be exposed to this. It also gives you the job zone, and it's job zone 3, which means medium preparation is needed to be in that job. And you can go into the, as you can see up here, there's different tabs. You can look at the details of the job. You can go and customize it, but we're gonna stick with this. It also talked about the education that you would need for this job, any related experience, job training, and it gives you job zone examples. Now, of course, you're going to need to do a little deep dive into this website and play around with it. But let's look. Oops, let me go back. So we're going to look in a state to see what's offered. So we're going to go to California, and we'll look up a zip code in Los Angeles. So these are positions that are listed right now for these types of jobs. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. These are 4 training programs found near that location that you can participate in to get that job. So you can identify training programs, okay? Training and credentials. You can also identify where you can get a state license to do the job. Here you can go to apprenticeship opportunities, and it'll take you to apprenticeship.gov, and you can learn about opportunities for internships. Here is the worker requirements. You have to be an active listener, service-oriented, social perspectives. You will be speaking with the public, and you need to understand written sentences and paragraphs and work-related documents. It talks about the knowledge and the education. What education do you need? 92% of the individuals have an associate's degree. Worker characteristics, interest, work values, work styles. And then this is really cool. So you can look at the wages and the wage trends for this particular job. So if I want to look up that same area, you can see that in the state of California, in this particular zip code, which is Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Anaheim, the average pay for a worker doing this job is $80,840, with a high being $96,000. In the United States, this job, the average earning is 67,000. You can see the statistics and where this is based off of and the full details of the annual salaries in the different areas of California. So going back to the main page, you can look at the job openings on the web for this state, for this job. And again, I'm going to use the same zip code, and we're going to go there, and we're going to see where are the needs and the job openings currently for this job. And there you go. And then you can go and apply to them.
Directly on the webpage?
Yeah. So if you go here we're going to go to the first one. There's the job, and you can go apply for this job. And there you go.
Awesome. That's so easy. And everything is already there.
That's correct. So it's all there for you, and it is an amazing website that a lot of people don't know about. You can also look up your professional association. So you can go to the American Occupational Therapy Association, and they may even have more opportunities for applying for jobs. Very cool, right?
Absolutely. I think we have, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Dr. Sharon raised her hand. I think she has a question. Let's see if you'll be able to catch her.
I think somebody's joining.
Dr. Sharon, do you have any questions? She raised her hand, so I believe she has a question. Dr. Sharon, are you there? I guess not.
She's there. She came on. Maybe she's just not able to unmute herself.
She's unmuted. I believe so. Dr. Sharon, you can also put it on the chat if you want. From the other audience, do you have any questions? You can just raise your hand and we'll pull you up.
Okay, well, one other thing I'm going to show you guys in my presentation, I had our job seeking guide, and this is something that I put together and I'll just give you a sample of it. Hold on, let me get to it. Ugh, come on. There we go. So this goes through, it gives employment resources like different neurodivergent job boards and job agencies, companies focused on neurodivergent hiring, general job boards, career services, etc. It's not everything, but it was my attempt to make it a little bit easier for people. And then I give workbooks and scripts for people to help with their, like, thank you notes, different things like that. So for employment resources, these are different neurodivergent job boards that you can go to look for jobs. Here's some job agencies that exist, not all of them, but just and then here are some companies that have been focused on neurodivergent hiring. Many of these companies are tech related. That's one of the reasons why I started Zavikon, because a lot of organizations were only focused on technology jobs. And I believe that, and I know for a fact that, individuals in the autism spectrum want all types of jobs. These are just general job boards that are out there that you can look at to see. Some of them are for hourly jobs, flexible type jobs, other career services that are out there, companies that we know hire from our community, and different work source resources and ONETs right there. This is a little bit about us, our one-pager. Tips and tricks, different ways to build your resume, or, tools that'll help you build your resume. Job seeking tips and tricks. I give you an organizer so you can, organize yourself in your search and know where you've applied to, different companies that you can utilize, different nonprofits that you can utilize to look up companies to see if they're neuro-inclusive. Here's how to use an immersive reader and some free online classes to build a LinkedIn profile if you would like to have a LinkedIn profile. And just general job seeking tips and tricks, thank you notes. And then here's some workbooks that you can use to create, networking scripts, things like that, how to research a company and what to look into, etc. So little tool that I built to help people out. Hopefully you'll find it helpful. And the link is included. But I can also include the link in the chat. If I can figure out how to do that. Where's the chat?
It's going to be on your right-hand side. You have the speaker chat just below the speaker and audience chat, right below the elevator button.
Oh.
Audience chat. Make it audience, yeah.
Oh, hold on. I don't see it.
Is your elevator button open?
Yeah.
Click the elevator button again. It should remove the elevators.
Ah, very cool. Okay. There we go.
Audience chat.
Hopefully that link will work for you guys.
And also Victor is asking, how do we access the materials links you mentioned in the presentation? This will be given to Autism Today, right? And Autism Today will be spreading out the presentation of Rebecca Beam.
Yeah, and you can also, if you want to reach out to me, here I'll put my email in the chat. If you just want to reach out to me, I can send you a PDF of I'm going to send it to Autism Today, but you can also reach out to me directly and I can send it to you via PDF.
Awesome.
One of the other things that Zavikon did this past year, which was really cool, is we sponsored the Autism and Entertainment Conference. And it was really an incredible success where we brought autistic creatives and the studios together to raise awareness about the autism creative side. And we did it with a grant. We're trying to build out autism and entertainment, but we do a lot of webinars. So if you're interested in that, you can go to autismandentertainment.org and check us out. There's some great keynote speeches from the conference. It was a huge success. We had 500 registrants. So if you're interested in that, please follow us.
I think we don't have any more questions. I think we're good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go cook food then. I hope you all enjoy your Sunday and thank you for coming and listening to me. I hope I did offer some insight on how to encourage individuals to look for employment, find employers, because what we all want is independent living, and purpose and employment is a way to get that. So hopefully that was helpful.
Sure, it sure was. Thank you so much, Rebecca Beam.
You're welcome.